Howdy, Mark Greathouse here. I deeply appreciate all my readers, and please share in my excitement in the November 22nd release by Defiance Press and Publishing of my anthology, Tumbleweed Tumblings, Western Tales and Verse. Aromas of gun smoke, trail dust, dank saloons, and bluebonnets are woven throughout the pages filled with grit, adventure, and passion played out across the Texas Nueces Strip. The short stories are mostly backstories of Tumbleweed Saga's characters like Luke Dunn, Alyssa Corrigan, Three Toes, Scarlet Rose, and more. What happened in Ireland to fuel Dunn's passion for justice? How did the wolf spirit in Comanche Chief Three Toes' vision quest foretell his future? I'm hoping that the anthology will draw current fans curious about the stories behind my saga's characters, while motivating others to learn more by reading the Tumbleweed Sagas series. Now, I've also sprinkled in a bit of Western poetry, and as poet E. E. Cummins once said, well, write poetry for God's sake. It's the only thing that matters. So I'm going to give you all a taste of poetry and a hit of prose today. Y'all hang on tight, 'cause here it comes. Now, for you readers who fancy yourself cowboys or cowgirls out there, I'm going to start, just give you a stanza of one of my one of my Western poems. This is called Texas on My Mind, Texas in My Blood. Visions of rolling hills dance a Texas two-step in my mind. Live oak and mesquite beckon under a great azure sky. Blankets of bluebonnets and primrose undulate with the breeze. Yeah, oh yeah, Texas runs ever deep in my soul, in my blood. I see cowboys on horseback, herding Brahmins and Longhorns. Trail-worn boots mix with jingling spurs and clouds of dust. Well, hopefully that might lead you to looking some more. There's about a dozen poems in this anthology, and I kind of hope that might pique your poet's interest at least. Poet. Um, Three Toes is a key character in the Tumbleweed sagas. He's a Penataka Comanche chief, and his early name, before he got his name as a chief, was Swimming Horses. So I'm going to give you a little bit of his backstory. Swimming Horses had no idea how long he'd slept. He'd fallen over from his sitting position and now lay on his side. The sun was just peeking above the eastern horizon as a gentle breeze brought an aroma more often feared than sought after. Swimming Horses cautiously opened his eyes. The scent wafting past his nostrils gave him pause for the realization of his worst fear. A pair of yellow eyes penetrated his own. The aroma, well, it was from the telltale breath of the great gray wolf that now stood over him. Sina, he hissed through clenched teeth. His eyes opened wide and stared back intensely into those burning yellow eyes. This was what the Penataka referred to as the conversation of death. It was not words spoken aloud, but rather in a hypnotic stare that the hunter leveled at its prey to communicate that certain death lurked. It was a common habit of the wolf, aimed to drive a fear of what was to come deep within the very soul of its prey. Swimming Horses opened his eyes even wider. The wolf, was it a wolf? Had disappeared. Where had it gone? Sina, Atsabi! He uttered the words aloud in his Comanche tongue. Had what he'd seen indeed been the spirit of the wolf of legend? Had it been real, or a vision conjured by the Great Spirit? He sat upright and looked about, then stood. The rock ledge had made for a decidedly unyielding bed. His eyes swept the ground, but the rock yielded no paw prints. His legs and back protested, belying the fact that he was as yet a young warrior. Swimming Horse's bronze skin stretched tautly over his unusually well-muscled physique. His high cheekbones and aquiline nose gave him an air of nobility not uncommon to his people, but especially so with him. He shed the leggings and now wore only a buckskin breechcloth, leaving no other part of his body to the imagination. He stretched out his arms, tightening the skin while flexing sinewy strands of muscle. The warrior gathered his spirit pouch and his bow and arrows. Sina Asabi, he murmured. Sina Asabi. It repeated in a reverent whisper. Strong medicine indeed. For the Penataka Comanche people, the wolf symbolized loyalty, trust of heart and mind. Like the Comanche, the wolf was an apex hunter, setting atop the natural food chain. Surely the vision confirmed his destiny to be a leader of his people, a great chief. His war bonnet already featured many eagle feathers, and he owned many ponies. He was even considering taking a third wife. Swimming horses, fully expected to be elected chief at the next council. Would this vision seal that fate? The Great Spirit had spoken. Surely it should be so. Well, that's about it in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed that little taste of Tumbleweed Tumblings. Of course, you must buy the books to learn everything that happens to those characters. Tumbleweed Tumblings, Western Tales in Verse, and all my books from Defiance Press and Publishing are available online from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and most popular online booksellers. Meanwhile, I urge you to find yourself a comfy place. Let your imagination come alive, reliving America's Old West through the Tumbleweed Tumblings and through my Tumbleweed Sagas. You don't even need spurs or saddle. Enjoy a cup of coffee, or even sip a glass of wine, or maybe something more potent. And of course, I'd be especially obliged if you'd post a review. Meanwhile, happy trails, and y'all do take care.